My name is Natalia, and I have dysautonomia.
My name is Travis Ford. I have dysautonomia.
Hi, my name is Tava Wilson, and my daughter Christina had dysautonomia.
I'm Morgan. I have dysautonomia, and this is our story.
Dysautonomia is a dysfunction of the autonomic nervous system. So everything you can't control, such as your heart rate, your blood pressure, your oxygenation saturation, which is how much oxygenated blood you have, everything that you can't control is controlled by the autonomic nervous system. And in dysautonomia patients, their autonomic nervous system does not function properly.
POTS is postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Dysautonomia is a condition that affects your autonomic nervous system, and POTS falls under the umbrella of dysautonomia.
The first time I made a concerted effort to figure out what was going on is one day it got so bad I just lost my balance at work, and half of my body wasn't working right. I couldn't walk straight. But logical, I would think, oh, maybe I'm having a stroke. I didn't think that. I thought maybe I'm having a heart attack or something, because of leading up to that and what had been going on, I've been feeling these heart palpitations.
In January of 2016, I began vomiting out of nowhere. I went 28 days straight vomiting. I was in and out of the hospital having multiple GI tests trying to figure out what the cause was. There was multiple variables at the time. I started a new job, and I had just come out from traveling. So from that, they thought maybe I just got a bad case of the flu.
I was getting much more fatigued. I was passing out in the middle of the street. And I was just having a hard time in school because of brain fog.
I was passing out over 30 times a day. They thought I was having a stroke, so they rushed me to the hospital, and I sat at the hospital for 6 weeks undiagnosed.
In 2014, my stomach became completely paralyzed, so I couldn't eat or drink without vomiting.
One day I can exercise somewhat, one day I can't. One day I can, climb up a ladder at work and put my tool belt on and do the construction things I love to do and get away with it. The next day I do that, and it'll put me down for 2 or 3 days. It'll take me a long time to recover. And where I struggle is not wanting to always explain it to somebody, because sometimes the best defense I have is denial. If I can put together 2 or 3 good hours, hey, maybe this is in my head.
Every time I would pass out, it would be an ambulance ride to the hospital, and then hospitals would, the ER staff at least, would just dismiss it. Or some of them would say, oh, it's because she's anxious. She had just moved here. She wants attention. So that kind of thing.
They brought psychologists in. They started asking me, oh, well, you're the feature twirler at USF, and you're Miss Tampa, and you just got your dream job. So do you think maybe that you really haven't had to work for anything? And, now that you didn't win the title of Miss Florida, that's why this is happening?
Neither my pain doctor or my neurologist, it would always be butting heads. So they could never come together to get a treatment plan.
She knows she's going to be valedictorian of her class. She was a competitive gymnast, was number 1 in the state for years in several events. She is an accomplished in so many different sports. So this is senior year of high school. She finds out she has Epstein-Barr, and she falls extremely sick. And she never really got better. At that point, she weighed about 128 pounds, and by the time she started MIT, about 8 months later, she weighed under 100 pounds. All sorts of other symptoms started to emerge. We were dealing with so many different doctors at this point. You just don't know what to listen to. People in the medical community need to take these symptoms seriously, look at the whole patient, and recognize that they're not trying to get attention, they're not making this up, that this is real. She told me that she wanted to go over to her dad's house because it would be quieter there. She texted me at 8:20 saying, "Mom, I love you." And then about 1:30 in the morning, 4 police officers arrived at our house and told me that she had jumped from the roof of the parking garage at Tampa International Airport to her death. And if my daughter had known that what she had was real, and if she had been treated as an actual medical patient by the medical community, I don't think she would have taken her life. I think she would have gone the medical route, but she had completely given up on the medical route.
My mom started Googling, and my mom seen Christina's story. So she contacted Miss Tava through Facebook, and she put her in touch with the Dysautonomia Project. They came to the hospital that evening and brought books, brought so many different resources for me because I was at a complete loss. And they willingly spoke to the doctors and was like, "This is what POTS is, this is our book," and basically educated my doctors so that they were able to give me a diagnosis of POTS.
Medicine is starting to kind of hone in on the areas that they can't pinpoint, and maybe that there'll be ways to treat this that are more effective in the future. And there's a lot of people going through pain and problems that they don't have to.
6 years is the typical diagnosis. It's so crazy to know that people go through this every single day for years on out, and honestly makes me feel very grateful that it was only 6 months that I didn't have to continue because of the Dysautonomia Project.
Until the next roadblock comes, I just keep on pushing forward.
There's always light at the end of the tunnel, and no matter how hard things get and how many bad days you have, there will be good days to follow, but you just have to keep your life geared towards those good days to come.
There is hope.
There are answers.
And it all begins.
And it all begins.
And it all begins with you.